excuse me. I'll have the chocolate maca laca latte with 4 scoops of ice cream and 2 sugars, please. Just at my table will be fine. Oh, excuse me. I didn't see you there today. Hello and welcome, my darlings, to story time with moi. I especially put my little feather boa on for you this morning because it just fluffs things up and makes it a little bit more special. Do you like my ears? Can you say hello? I'll tell you a lovely way to say hello. Say air, hair, lair. Hello. Hello to you too, my darlings. So anyway, today's a little bit about manners. Manners are such a lovely thing, aren't they? They get you things that you want and they make you sound like a very nice person. Do you like my hair? Yes, I do too. I got it cut and dyed. Yes, I know it looks like something died, but no, I don't look like Lord Farquaad. I look like myself, darling, myself. Anyway, today we have excuse me. It's a good way to be. When you go to the shops and people just push past, don't you wish they'd say, excuse me? Anyway, in this story today, we have a little piggy. No, it's not Piglet, but it is a little piggy. No, it's not. It's not, who's that other little pig? Not Dora. She's a little bit of a pig when she eats lots, but no, it's not George either. No. Anyway, it's excuse me. Not because I'm going to be a pig, but I'm going to be like a nice little piggy. This little piggy stayed home. How about you? It's polite to say excuse me when I need to get past somebody. It's lovely and polite. When are some times that you might say excuse me? My son says excuse me at the table when he farts, which is really inappropriate. I keep telling him to leave the table and also to cut it off because I don't want him bringing it back to the table. It's just not nice. But it is nice when you're out and someone says excuse me to get past instead of getting all huffy and stuff. If I sneeze or burp by mistake, I say excuse me. Do you say excuse me when you fluff out your bottom? I do, not that mums fart. I just try to pass it off on my husband or the dog or anybody but myself because we know that mums just spray fairy dust, as we all know. But saying excuse me is very good. Do you say excuse me when you accidentally burp? When are some other times you might say excuse me? If I don't hear someone say, if I don't hear someone, I say excuse me, and they'll repeat what they said. That's a good one, isn't it? Do you sit there and say, what? That's not a nice way to be. You need to say, excuse me, what was it that you said previously? That, my darlings, is a much better way of being. It's much more polite. Look at all those little piggies. I think this little piggy's got his hand up because he wants to go to market. This little piggy's going to market. This little piggy's going to stay home. This little piggy is going to have roast beef because he's not vegan. And this little piggy's going to have none. And this little piggy's going to go wee, wee, wee. And this one's going to get really upset that this one went wee, wee. Saying excuse me helps me to get someone's attention. In my house, You have to say it a lot of times to get someone's attention. Don't you just love that? Said nobody ever. This little piggy is trying to get the attention of the adults because these adults are having a super important conversation. And the little piggy needs to come along and say, "Excuse me." And then the adults might just turn around and acknowledge them. What does acknowledge mean? It means pay attention and ask you what you're there for. It's polite to say, "Excuse me," and show everyone how lovely my manners are, darling. You should know that. If we're sitting at the table and we need to get down to get a drink, or the salt and pepper, or just to pop off to the toilet because we got that feeling, it's nice to say, "Excuse me, may I leave the table?" Or if we would like something passed across the table, we might say, "Excuse me, would you pass the salt, please?" Not, "Oi, give me the salt, mate." So those are some of the things that we can look at when we're saying excuse me. Can you think of some times when you might say excuse me? And this book is written, illustrated and designed by Karen Carter. No relation to Linda Carter, Wonder Woman, but Superwoman anyway. So I thought you might enjoy that. And as always, or not always, but today anyway, you're super lucky because I have two stories. The other story is about a little egg. Can you tell? It's coming up to egg time. We've talked about bunnies this week, haven't we? Some of my other friends have been on reading about bunnies. Some of my friends have been reading about eggs and bunnies and ducks. So today I've got another little story about an egg, but it's not a bunny and it's not a duck. What can you think it might be? Can you see a little clue down the bottom? Yes, there's a clue at the bottom. It's little Kiwi again. Little Kiwi looks after the egg. Now this might be much better than little Bunny who booted the egg, rolled it down a hill and threw stones at it. Hopefully little Kiwi looks after the egg. That would be using his good manners, wouldn't it? And appropriate behaviour. Because when we're caring for somebody, we don't roll them down a hill, unless they've asked. Which even then would get your hair messy and your ears might fall off. Anywho, this is by Bob Derrick. And we read one by Bob Derrick yesterday. Well, not me, one of my other friends. Just got to make my way through all the other pages in the front to get to the story. Little Kiwi, called Mummy, your dad needs my help for a minute. Can you come and look after the egg, please? Sure, little Kiwi replied. But why does it need looking after? It's just an egg, isn't it? Mummy smiled. It does say Mum, but I much prefer Mummy today. It's much more than just an egg, she said. Very soon a little brother or sister will hatch out, just the way you did, just like a seed. Seeds hatch, don't they? Oh, no, they don't. They germinate. It is very important that we keep this egg nice and safe. We can't let anything happen to it. That would be much disappointing, wouldn't it? Something happened to the egg. Look at little Kiwi over there. Little Kiwi felt very important. He would make sure that the egg stayed safe until Mummy got back. What a good little Kiwi. He's being responsible, isn't he? I hope he doesn't throw stones. I wonder what it will be like having a brother or a sister, he thought. That could be fun. Then, as he dreamed, the egg started to wobble, and a sharp little knock, knock, knock came from inside. What do you wonder that might be? A tiny little hole had appeared in the side of the egg. Hello, little Kiwi cried shyly.
Hello,
A voice answered.
how are you?
I'm your big brother, little Kiwi answered.
Hello, big brother.
Said the voice.
I'd invite you in, but I can't seem to find the door.
There's no door, laughed little Kiwi. You have to push until the shell breaks. Clever little Kiwi. The egg started bouncing around until, ka-chonk, out popped 2 feet.
What are those things?
Asked the egg. Oh, those are feet, little Kiwi replied. They're great things to have, he told the egg. With them, you can jump and dance. What can you do with your feet? Can you tap them? Can you dance? Can you spin around and get all jiggity with it? Jiggity, jiggity.
Wow, so you can.
Laughed the egg as it started jumping and dancing around. Be careful, little Kiwi gasped. I've got to take care of you. You shouldn't go running around like that, he said. Do you think the egg is going to listen to him? Straight away, little Kiwi realised he shouldn't have mentioned running. Oh, you can see my ears bouncing along on the page, just like a shadowy thing.
You mean you can run with these feet things?
Said the egg.
Hey, running sounds like fun.
And with that, the egg took off. Wait, stop, little Kiwi wailed. I'm meant to be taking care of you. Oh no, he moaned. Now we're in trouble. And he took off after the egg. He might have to run very fast, mightn't he? Leaves and sticks flew everywhere as the egg zoomed through the forest. What was that? Squawked a startled whacker as the sprinting egg shot through her nest. It's zooming through, isn't it? So fast she couldn't even see it. Sorry, little Kiwi panted as he followed. That's my egg. I'm supposed to be looking after it.
Looks more like you're running after it, she huffed. What a hoon!
Lucky he's not in a car or he'd be done for hooning, wouldn't he? The egg came to and through a stream. Oh, man, muttered little Kiwi. He didn't really like water, but he had to keep the egg safe, so through he went. Crazy hoons, spluttered a kingfisher on a tree branch as the water showered down on top of him. It's a little bit like a kookaburra, isn't he? Whoops, my little hairs are getting out of place. I like to keep my hairs in place, don't you? Otherwise they get in your face. Oh no, moaned little Kiwi as the egg belted along a log bridge and over a waterfall. He's a bit of a Speedy Gonzales, isn't he?
Had never been brave enough to cross here before, but he had to keep up with that crazy egg. He had to keep that crazy egg safe. So with his eyes tightly closed, he wobbled across the log. He opened his eyes just in time to see the egg heading for another log bridge. This one ending in mid-air halfway across the stream. "Stop!" he yelled. Too late. Uh-oh, what do you think's going to happen? I can see a white heron in the background. Ko tuku. The egg sprinted off the end of the log and bounced off the back of a heron that was flying past. The heron crashed into the water while the egg landed safely, still running, on the riverbank. "Oh man, little Kiwi groaned. "How am I ever going to keep this egg safe?" He's putting a lot of effort in, isn't he? At least his mummy can't say he didn't try. It's always good to acknowledge even when you were trying, isn't it? He bounded along the log and tried to jump to the other side. Can you see that? He's bounding along and trying to jump. But he couldn't quite jump that far. As the soggy heron was just taking off again, kaboing! Little Kiwi bounced to the riverbank and the heron hit the water again. Oh, poor heron. The heron muttered something about hoons and decided to walk home. Poor heron, getting squashed, isn't he? Looks a bit smashed and munted. Now, where was the egg? From a clump of bushes came a loud, startled squawk. Little Kiwi didn't really like rushing into strange, dark places, but he had to catch up with the egg. He rushed in and found a very ruffled, very surprised Pooh-Kickle, flat on her back. Would you like to be flat on your back in the bushes? I don't think so. Poor Pooh-Kickle. What was that? She stammered. My egg, spluttered little Kiwi. I meant to be looking after it. Well, it's a hoon, Pooh-Kickle told him, and she scrambled back out of the bushes. She's looking a bit fluffed, isn't she? Tired out, little Kiwi staggered on, following a trail of scattered fluttering leaves and scattered fluttering birds. What on earth am I going to tell Mum? Sorry, I didn't do his voice. What on earth am I going to tell Mum? He panted. I told her I'd look after this egg. You see all the different birds all fluffed and scattered, fluttering around. At last, the trail led back to the burrow. There was the egg, lying quietly at the back of the nest. Little Kiwi gently lifted the shell off and gazed down at the tiny Kiwi lying there. A sister? Totally exhausted, he flopped down beside her and promptly fell asleep. And all of us who have a little sister know how exhausting they can be, don't we? But we love them anyway, especially when we get big. Ah, isn't that lovely? Beamed Mum when she came home. What a good big brother you are. taking such good care of your little sister? I think it's a little bit exhausted, don't you? Won't it be fun to have a little sister to play with? Mummy said. You'll be able to look after her and take her for nice quiet walks in the bush. Mummy has no idea, does she, exactly how it is between those two siblings already. Little Kiwi was too tired to answer, and all he could do was mutter, "Oh, man!" He looks a bit freaked out having a little sister, doesn't he? But little sisters can be fun, except for when they're running late and you have to wait for them to go to school. But we love them anyway, don't we? So, I hope you've enjoyed those two stories today and are taking care of yourself. Now remember, even though you're just at home, remember to use excuse me. It might be something you could talk about today. Pepper. Pepper is the piggy I was trying to think of. Pepper. It's not Pepper. And it's not Pepper's little brother George. Just to be sure. And little Kiwi. We can talk about being responsible, taking care of our younger siblings. What a fantastic idea. We all love that, don't we? So, remember to be kind, and especially kind to yourself. At the moment, things are a little bit difficult for some people, and they're finding that they're stuck at home with their children a lot, or they're stuck at home with their mummies and daddies and grandparents and caregivers a lot. Everybody is just starting to get a little bit tired of each other, aren't they? So, you could do something like make a hut. Go and hide in it. You could make a hammock. You could go outside and sit quietly and read a story to yourself. You could put your earbuds in, listen to a meditation, and take yourselves out into the expansiveness of the universe. That way, your body will still be here, and you can just pop off to somewhere else in your imagination. What a super idea. I do that all the time. So, some good tools for going ahead this week, darlings. Take care of you. Don't forget to be thinking about your future. What do you want it to be like in a week, in a month, in 5 months, in a year? What would you like it to be like? You've got this time now to start planning those things. Next is a little bit of change. Change can be a little bit scary and a little bit exciting. Sometimes we might even want to say, "Change, excuse me, change, but could you just go away for a little while?" You might have other ways of saying that you would like change to move on, but that's not appropriate for today. So, think about what you would like to change and just make one change towards that. It might be to spend more time meditating. I do like to meditate and it makes me feel very good. You might want to include a little bit more water in your day. One more glass than yesterday. What is one thing you could do that gets you towards your goal? And goals are a great thing to have at this time because they give us something to work towards. They give us something to look forward to. I have been walking with the children. And I was lucky enough to find some cans yesterday, so I'm looking forward to when I've taken all those cans and cashed them in, when I'm allowed to again. So remember, one thing, one step, one change towards your goal. What would you like it to be? Think about that today and maybe pop it in here. Then we can all help you out if you're not sure. Or if you just really want to connect, you could message me and tell me what your goal is. Or send me a picture of you doing your one step towards your goal. On that note, beautiful people, I'm going to go and hop out of here, take my little feather boa, and go and have that latte I ordered at the beginning. So, darlings, be good, be kind, be compassionate, and love you and everybody else, even if you don't feel like it. Find something that you love about them. It makes it easier to love them. Just like me.